Welcome, Stampin' friends. Here is the card that I made for our card swap. And so I have some, people have had some questions on how I made it, so I'm going to make another one for you. How I chose these colors was I rolled the dice to find out what colors of the Stampin' Up! In colors that I was going to use. So to do the next card that's going to be just like this one, I'm going to roll the dice again. So I've got a 6, 4, and a 5. Now we know that there's only 5 colors, so I'm going to re-roll that one. Whoops. And so it's a 2, 4, and 5. So 1, 2, which is Blackberry Bliss, 3, 4, and 5. So these will be my colors that we're going to make the next card with. So we have chosen the colors, which is Mossy Meadow, Blackberry Bliss, and Hello Honey. Now for this card, you're going to need the Designer Series paper. This top layer is going to be 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. Its mat is 2 1/2 by 5 5/8. On the inside, the white sentiment area is 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now the Designer Series paper on this side is 5 by 5 1/2 for the Designer Series paper. Its mat is 5 1/4 by 5/8. Now, this portion, the base of the card, is cut 6 by 11 1/2, 6 by 11. Now, the inside, or the gift card portion of this card, is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2 with a little strip that is 1/4 inch by 4 inches, which will go right there, which keeps the little gift card from sliding out. For the stamp sets, I have used Petite Petals, the new Rose Wonder, I'm loving this one, and Flower Shop. These are all go-tos that I use constantly, along with their matching punches. Now to cut our base, we're going to cut our 11-inch paper into a 6 by 11-inch strip. That is 6 by 11 inches. Now we're going to score it at 2 1/4 by 5, or 2 1/4 and at 5, and those will be our folded measurements. And I've done that wrong. I'm sorry, it is 2 1/2. 2 1/2 and 5. And that's okay, because that'll be covered up. And there's our base. Now we're going to make a slit in this fold right along here. Now this is a little dark, but what I do is I just take my inside card, which is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2, and I just mark it, kind of just eyeball it in the middle. If it's off a little, it's not going to matter. And so I just mark it, and so I have a mark here and a mark here. What I do then is I take my craft knife, and I simply go across my lines and cut right down that fold line until a little bigger, so that my card will fit in. My Designer Series paper, I'm going to make my first cut is be my 5 1/2-inch cut. And then for the top mat is 2 1/4. Or not my mat, Designer Series paper. Be 2 1/4. And then 5 by 5 1/2. My first cut was 5 inches, so now this one will be 5. My first cut was 5 1/2. This one will be 5 inches. For my mats, the first cuts will be 5 5/8. The front cover mat will be 2 1/2 inches. And the bottom mat will be 5 1/4 by 5 5/8. Now, before I got started, I went ahead and stamped and punched my flowers and the sentiment. Now, I started to punch these in just the Hello Honey, but they didn't show up very well, so I went ahead and punched them with the Hello Honey cardstock with black, and it just seemed to pop just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get started putting this card together. Now, to get started assembling, we're going to take our insides, our little pull tab, and we're going to attach our little strip that is our stop for the little tab coming out. I'm using the Tombow Mono adhesive. I like that. It gives us a little dab of wiggle room. And we're just going to lay that right on the bottom. Now we're going to take one of our flowers. We're going to apply it only halfway onto this card. To where it sticks up. Now we're going to turn it over, and we're going to apply the other flower right on top, but we're only going to glue it on this half now, to where this will leave this open to stick over the card base. Now, this punched flower is not going to fit perfectly, but it will fit close enough because you won't see it. Okay, now on our card base, let's go ahead and apply our mat on the front. And our designer series paper. Now let's go ahead and apply the base in the middle. And the designer series paper. And now we can insert our tab. We open it up, put it through, and back it off. And then, now we want to hold this in here. We want to put glue on both sides. Now, I did not put glue on the inside. It held it good, so I just put it here on the edge. And glued it down. And now let's go ahead and do our decoration. Our happy birthday, I'm just going to snip that in two, add a little glue on the end, and position that to where it's a little outside the lines. And I'll do that on both ends. Now I will attach that with a dimensional in this area right here. I always like to add a couple of dimensionals Just seems to hold it on there a little better. And that's where our happy birthday. But before we do that, I think I want to go ahead and get my flowers on. So I'm going to start with the Mossy Meadow leaves. Now that I've punched some little Blackberry Bliss flowers, I'm going to cut them a little bit closer into the center to where they will be a little bit more dimensional as I roll the edges. I'm simply just kind of rolling them back down. And we'll do all the little flowers that way. For placement, I'm using 5 flowers. I'm going to place the 3 Hello Honey in kind of a row. And I'm going to offset that with the 2 Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to glue those on. Add my sentiment. Now for the inside, I'm going to use another I'm not going to use any dimension on these because these will be flat. And there is our card. It always amazes me how you can do the exact same card and have it look totally different with the designer series paper. And also how the colors match and coordinate with each other just by simply rolling the dice. Now I use some little black rhinestones on this one, and I'm going to use some little clear rhinestones on this one. Kind of add a little sparkle, little bling. And Stampin' Friends, there is our card. I do hope you'll join us for the Stampin' Up! Card Swap. It is a new group and we're just getting started. And it's to benefit so many and to share our art with one another. Thank you for watching.